What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. I am Sunny Brooks, and for those who are new here, welcome. And for those who are returning, hey family. So today we're going to be talking about divination. Divinations. What divinations are, different types of divinations, why you should use divination as a tool in your life, and yeah, all things is divination. So, what exactly is divination? A good way to put it is a tool that you can use, or different tools or modalities you can use to divine, to connect with spirit, to connect with the ancestors, to connect with the spiritual world. So divination is divining, right? And this is a way for you to connect, to get answers, to get clarity, to get guidance, to ask questions, whatever you need to tap into the spiritual world. You do that through different tools and different modalities, and also through divination. Different divinations help explain certain things that's going on in the physical human life. Some popular divinations is like tarot reading, oracle cards, numerology, astrology, things like that. And really, divination is for anybody and everybody. Certain divination practices are for specific people, but everyone could divine. There are some people that it comes easier to. There are some people that have certain gifts that enhance their divination practice. So people who may be clairvoyants or clairaudience may be very great at reading cards because they can hear from the spirits or see certain visions from the spirits. But everybody could divine. It comes easier to some, but with practice, it's like a muscle. So the more you do it, the more in tune you become, and the better you get at the practice. And it's ultimately about trusting your intuition and tapping into the spiritual realm. So I truly believe everyone should be a diviner, not necessarily a diviner that you're reading people for a living or things like that. I'm just saying for your own personal life or even your immediate family. I believe that you should, really, just because it is a way for you to tap into the things that we cannot see. Sometimes it is better to learn some things or get some clarity or understanding about what's going on physically for us to truly navigate this realm. I'm trying to keep it simple, y'all. I'm not trying to like be like, woo, you be like, hold up, Sunny, wait, go back. So really, you should, so that you can tap outside of yourself, tap into the spiritual realm, connect with spirit, connect with your ancestors, so that you can get messages and clarity and guidance to what you should do in your life and where you should go in your life. And even divining can give you yes or no answers, right? It can also give you understanding about what's going on currently. It can give you a glimpse of what may happen in the future. It may also bring some sort of clarity to what happened in the past. So different ways of divining, different avenues of divining will give you different answers and different things, but ultimately you should do it so that you can connect with your intuition, you can connect with spirit, and you can connect with the ancestors. The first divination tool I want to go over is cards. Many people use cards to divine. It is, I think, one of the most popular ones. You may hear tarot cards. You may hear oracle cards. You may even see people use playing cards. Yes, like the 52 card deck. People use those cards to read people or even read themselves. Tarot cards is a different system that I think it's 48 cards. I am not very knowledgeable in tarot, so do not quote me. And then you have oracle cards. This is like one of my very first oracle decks. This is Eternal Crystals Oracle deck, but this is one of my very first oracle decks, and it is also a way that I learned how to divine using cards. So cards is simple. It's not really simple, but Majority cards decks come with a book, and you can follow the different layouts and patterns that the book suggests, or you could just trust your intuition and lay cards how you want. But these are some cards that I have, and basically you can pull a card, right? Ooh, a card just fell out. Fuchsia healing. I already know what that's about. So that just fell out as I was like not even shuffling the cards. So you see how that just worked? The card fell out, healing. That is a message from the ethers telling me we got to do some healing work, right? Or maybe that's for you guys too. That's how it works. The second thing that I want to go over that's a way of divining is the pendulum. Don't mind my pendulum. It's cracked at the bottom, but it's a pendulum. Literally, pendulums, you can ask yes or no questions. I have a pendulum video, so you can go watch that. But you can ask yes or no questions. You can ask for different spellings of things like, oh, what city should I live in? But you would have to have a mat for that. You can use pendulums to read chakras. I know I do. Certain ways the sway tells me if it's open or closed, and tells me how open or closed the chakra is. But yeah, pendulums look like this. They're a crystal. Well, not all of them. Some of them are metals. But the ones I use are crystals. This is satellite. But yeah, this is a way of divining. Also, palmistry, which is palm reading. People may know it as palm reading, where someone reads the lines in your hands. I won't like really hold my hands out like that. You probably whatever. But anyways, it is a study of your palms, how different lines run, where there are connections. I know there are some like called your lifeline, your heart line. It tells you basically the story of your life or your soul existence based off of the lines of your hand. Everyone's hands are different. So kind of like your thumbprint or your fingerprint, how it's different, and it kind of tells a story. The same thing with your palm. So palmistry is another way of divination. Also astrology, that is one of the popular ones. It is a modality, but it is definitely a way to divine and get to know your soul existence and know your past lives, your future lives, what you are currently here for to work on. And you definitely can use astrology, the stars, the moons, and the planets to read what's going on currently in the physical world. So if there's a full moon in Capricorn, or there's a lunar eclipse, or there is a retrograde, those things is a way to tell you, those things are used to tell you what's going on now. So astrology is one, numerology is another one, the study of numbers. So people always talk about their sequence. They saw 333 or 434 or 111. That's numerology, but it goes deeper because we have life path numbers. We also have different numbers that associate with different parts of our lives. Also, we may buy a house and we move on a street and the address is 523, right? And it starts with 523. You're going to add those numbers up. 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 3 is 10, 1 plus 0 is 1. So 1, new beginnings, fresh start, right? So being able to read and study the numbers, like by adding them or subtracting them, or knowing your life path number, that is definitely a way to divine, or definitely a way to get more information about you or your physical existence. Also, people use dice, like, yeah, that. People use dice to read. I do not, and I don't know how, so it's not much I could tell you, but I do know that people use dice. They roll them, and there's certain numbers and certain combinations, kind of like with playing cards. If they pull out a certain amount of cards, there are different cards. There are different meanings for each card. Same thing with the dice. Maybe if the closest dice roll a certain way, the furthest dice roll a certain number, it all means something, a different sequence. So a lot of times divination has to do with the sequences that take place during the process of reading. Also, people use bones. I know they use different animal bones to read. I do not know about it. I don't recall ever getting a bone reading. I know I did have a reading. They may have had bones. I'm not 100% sure. But they basically use different parts of an animal to read. From my understanding, I think they shake it up in a bag or something and they drop it, and depending on how it drops, like, listen, don't quote me on the dice, and do not quote me on tarot. Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the other ones, but don't quote me on them because I am not familiar, but I know they are forms of divination that people use. So I'm trying to just inform you guys on different divination avenues. So bones is one of them, and runes is another one. I believe I'm saying it correctly, but runes is basically like stones with different symbols on them, and I believe that it goes back to Nordic magic, if I am not mistaken. I believe runes go back to Nordic magic, but it is similar like the dice and bones and stuff, that depending on how it lands or anything like that, determines what's going on or tell you a story of what is going on or what's going to happen or what has happened. People also use crystals to read. It is very interesting, shaking the crystals and dropping them and how they fall. People use crystals. People also use water to read. They also use coffee. I know it is very big in like certain indigenous cultures to read like coffee or tea. So like depending on how the coffee flows in the cup, and yeah, some people use like grains. So once they drink the coffee, at the bottom of their coffee, at the bottom of the cup, there will be like the coffee grains, and depending on how it lays, they'll see an image or something. They do that with tea too. People read candles, like depending on how your candle burns. Yeah, those are some like basic. I won't necessarily say basic, because you can literally master one of these areas and change your entire life, and also like start a business from it and everything. But these are different ways that people divine and use divination to connect with the spirit world in order to basically make sense of what's going on around us. And honestly, I love divination. I personally use oracle cards. I use pendulums. I use crystals. I do use astrology, numerology. And those are like the main divination tools I use in different divination methods. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I cover the ones I use, yeah. But mainly I do oracle cards and pendulums. But you can use whichever. Go Google. You can literally Google types of divinations, and there's hundreds that's going to pop up. But y'all let me know, have you ever done any of these, or any that I did not mention? Let us know. Let me know. I want to know. Talk to me, us as a family. Let's talk about divination. Let me know what you think, or which ones you have experienced, or which ones you're interested in learning. Talk to you later. Love you. Bye.